So OnePlus has just announced two new Nord products. This is the OnePlus Nord CE3 Lite and this is the OnePlus Nord Buds 2. But in today's video, we're just going to focus on this smartphone right here because it has a lot of nice upgrades over its predecessor and we are here to talk about it today after using for 2 weeks. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Nord CE3 Lite is essentially an iterative upgrade from the Nord CE2 Lite. So you're not going to get a lot of changes under the hood, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have any big upgrades to impress. Now, starting with the display here, this is a larger 6.72-inch Full HD Plus IPS display that refreshes at 120Hz. So that's actually a nice upgrade over the Nord CE2 Lite. This is a really nice display, colors are really good, and I really love the touch sampling rate. It's just so smooth as if you are using a flagship phone. Now, on the back, you get a new design here. This is the chromatic gray color that I was provided with the review unit, and it actually looks really nice. It has a really nice gray color glossy feel here, but unfortunately, this is quite the fingerprint magnet. Now, what I really like about the Nord CE3 Lite's design is the frame here. Now, even though this is a plastic frame, OnePlus has made a sandstone-like feel, so when you actually hold the phone just like this, it actually feels good to touch the frame instead of glossy, cheap plastic that is right over here. So I think OnePlus has really taken design into consideration when making this phone. So right at the bottom, you get a USB-C port that charges faster at 67 watts, as well as a good old 3.5mm headphone jack that actually sounds really good when you plug in wired headphones. Now, it still has dual stereo speakers right here that actually sounds pretty good, and OnePlus has now added a new volume boost feature that goes up to 200% of volume, which I have no idea why they actually did that, because I mean, if your stereo speakers can go up to that volume, there's really no point to introduce that feature. But yeah, it's there. I mean, when you turn it up to 200%, it really sounds a lot louder, and here's a sound test on how it sounds like. When it comes to performance, this is where you are not going to notice any difference from the Nord CE2 Lite, because the Nord CE3 Lite is still powered by the very same Snapdragon 695 chipset along with 8GB of RAM. Its internal storage, however, has been upgraded from 128GB to 256GB, while it still supports storage expansion over a micro SD card. And that is actually a really great thing if you're someone that tends to fill up its internal storage really fast with apps, medias, and games. So having storage expansion is really important on a phone like this. And now, probably the biggest upgrade on the OnePlus Nord CE3 Lite over its predecessor would be its camera system. The main camera is now a 108MP sensor, while it is assisted by two other 2MP cameras. Now, the 108MP sensor is not something new that we have seen on smartphones, but OnePlus is claiming that this sensor is capable of doing a 3x lossless zoom. And now, take a look at these camera samples. This is taken with the regular zoom, and as you can see, image quality is really good in daytime, and even when it comes to low light, it is actually pretty decent, though you can still notice a lot of detail loss. There's a bit of noise and graininess, but it's definitely not the worst among mid-range phones. Take a look at these 3x lossless zoom photos. Now, what the phone essentially does right here is to crop into the 108MP sensor to achieve this kind of shot. Well, if you think it is a lossless zoom, I really think that it isn't a lossless zoom, because the main thing about this sensor is that it is a really small 108MP sensor. So when you just crop into the sensor and to take that picture, really you do not get any kind of lossless zoom right there, even though it looks a little better than digital zoom, but to be honest, it isn't all that great. And even when you turn on the extra HD camera mode within the app, it only lets you take a 2x zoom, which to be honest, it still doesn't look that great. The only consoling point about the camera here is its 2MP macro lens, which I think is the best 2MP macro lens that I have ever seen on any smartphones out there. It takes really sharp and clear pictures, as you can see right here, though I kind of wish that OnePlus would just include a ultra-wide lens and probably a higher resolution macro lens on this phone. When it comes to selfies, the Nord CE3 Lite has a 60MP front-facing camera that takes pretty good shots when using good lighting, but not too good when you use it in low light, and that is something quite expected with this kind of camera sensor. Like its predecessor, the Nord CE 3 Lite is packed with a 5000 mAh battery that has no issues going up to 2 days on a single charge if you're using it moderately for a 3 to 4 hour screen on time. But if you're using longer than that, expect to charge the phone by the end of the day or the next day. And thankfully, there's now 67 watts of super volt flash charging. You can actually juice up this phone really fast if you forget to charge the phone. And just in case if you're worried about this fast charging affecting your battery health, OnePlus has built in a battery health engine onto the phone software to ensure that your battery doesn't get overcharged, and it adaptively adjusts the wattage according to your charging patterns to ensure the longest lifespan for your phone's battery. And OnePlus even claims that this phone can go up to 4 years of battery lifespan, which is something really great, which is unlike any other phones of the same class. The bottom line here is that despite the Nord CE 3 Lite being a really iterative upgrade of the Nord CE 2 Lite, I'm really glad that OnePlus has introduced the necessary upgrades to this phone right here. It has a larger display, faster charging speed, and a better camera, even though its 3 times lossless zoom isn't that good. So yeah, I think this is a really good phone for anyone who's considering a phone that is around the 1000 ringgit to 1200 ringgit price tag. I think that should be the price of this phone, because at this point of time, I still do not have any pricing details of this phone just yet, but it should be priced around the same as its predecessor, knowing OnePlus fashion, right? So yeah, that's pretty much about my thoughts on the OnePlus Nord CE 3 Lite. It's a really great mid-range phone. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel because we got another video coming out on the OnePlus Nord Buds 2, and that is a really impressive pair of wireless earbuds that I've tested. So definitely stay tuned for that video coming right out. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you love what you saw, and I'll see you guys in the next one.